Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back. Welcome back to the second part of the Orbi video. My initial intention was to film the unboxing and the setup all in one video. It just didn't happen that way. So I did the unboxing video and now we're doing the setup video. Kind of. I've already set it up and I've been using this for about a month and a half or so now. And I'm actually glad I did it this way because I was able to get a better idea of how the system works. So in this video, I'm going to show you where I set it up, where I put the satellite, as well as where I put the router or the main Orbi unit that's going to send out the signal to the satellites. I'm glad I did it this way, because like I said, I was able to kind of learn more about the system and iron out some of the kinks that I probably wouldn't have had if I had just done a unboxing and then setup video. And I guess I could have done a month later video of how it's going or whatever. But here we are. And I'm going to show you some speed tests, both from my phone as well as from my MacBook. So let's get right into it. So this is where I have the router portion of the Orbi. I have it in this position because this is where the cable comes in from outside. The Fios cable comes in and feeds right into the Orbi right here. Next to that, I have a couple of bridges that I need, and let me show you now where the satellite is positioned. All right, so right over here is where I have the Orbi satellite. It's plugged into there, and let me show you back here like I showed you in the other video. I can't really see, but you have the 4 different Ethernet ports right here as well. I don't have those set up just yet. Or that's not what I want to say. I don't have anything in there just yet. And there's Oslo over there. He's just hanging out, his favorite spot, looking out the window. That is where I put the Orbi, and that wasn't my initial spot for it. I didn't want it out here. And I still got to figure out how to kind of make it look better. It's kind of just out in the open right now. But I did run into an issue. So over here, I have the August lock, which is right here. When I had the previous router and extender, I was having really no issues with the actual lock. When I went over to the Orbi, I started getting these notifications saying Wi-Fi disconnected, and then 2 hours later, Wi-Fi connected. So it kept doing that throughout the day, a few times a day. And I was like, what the heck's going on? So that happened for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then I started kind of doing a little bit more digging to figuring out why that was doing it. I'm guessing it's because, well, at the time I was guessing it was because of the new modem, maybe the router. I don't know, right? So I went into the forums, and it was all these things that I had to check. I had to change the batteries. And it's kind of weird because the battery said it should last about 3 to 4 months, and it wasn't even that long. So I had to change the batteries, and at that point I was like, all right, we get to figure this out. I'm trying to remember exactly what these kind of issues were that they were talking about that could be affecting the signal, because that's really what it was. It was just losing the signal. And one of the things that I thought was interesting was the fact that with the Orbi setup, you can't choose between a 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz network. It does it automatically for you depending on what it thinks is best at that moment. The August lock only works on 2.4, and some people were saying that maybe it wasn't sure which of the units to connect to, whether it was the satellite or the router, and maybe that's why it was like, you know, dropping off. Another one was, and this has made no sense because if it doesn't have a 5 gigahertz chip, I guess, it won't be looking for that actual, you know, setup. So the most logical thing for me to do was to move it from where it was. It wasn't always there. I had it in the kitchen, and I had it in the kitchen because there's a shelf that I could put it up and kind of forget about it. And it really isn't that far. It's under the side of this wall here. So, and that is where I had the extender. So on the other side of this wall, I had the extender. It really shouldn't have made a difference from, you know, over there to here. But, you know, I had to figure this out, and what I ended up doing was, and there was like all these things you had to do. It was like, you know, reset the lock, reset the Orbi, all these other things. I can't remember now. But I was like, you know what? What's going on, bud? Say hi. Say hi. Why are you making all that noise? But, sorry about that. The first thing I was like, let me just move it from one position to the next and see if that'll work better. So that's what I did. I moved it from behind this wall, and then I put it over there. So I went from over here, which was actually right up top there, to over here. And as soon as I did it, I stopped losing connection. So I thought that was a little bit weird, considering that, you know, this mesh system, you should have, you know, the Wi-Fi in a much like a stronger signal. I don't know if it was because it wasn't sure which satellite or which, you know, unit to connect to, but either way, now it's connected. I haven't had any issues with it. So I'm gonna have to, you know, leave this here. Maybe I'll put something or plant it, maybe put on the wall. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with that, but that is what I had to do to make the August lock not lose its Wi-Fi connection. The previous modem that I had no issues with that. And once I went to this system, I did. Otherwise, this system has been absolutely great. I have great signal, great connection, great whatever you want to call it, all over the house. Pretty sure 3 bars consistently everywhere. Before, I didn't have 3 bars actually in this area over here, which is kind of like the other side of the house, the other part of the house. The modem, sorry for walking around so much, but the modem is like in that room in there. And then over here, I would start losing some of that signal. But now I have 3 bars or full bars, 5 bars, whatever it is, all over the house, consistent internet. And in the bedroom, I have this one light that is, you know, Wi-Fi connected. It's an, I don't even know, I got it on Amazon. And with the previous modem, I wouldn't be able to get a consistent signal. So when I would try to turn it on, you know, using Alexa, it wouldn't turn on. But since I went to the mesh, the signal is stronger, and that is working consistently. So, you know, it was weird that the lock worked before all the time without losing connection with the old modem, but that light wouldn't work. And now I was losing connection with the August lock with the new mesh system. I don't know what the deal was, but what fixed it for me was bringing the second unit, the satellite, closer to it. And not that it wasn't working, like the lock would still work, it would go on to Bluetooth. It's just that the Wi-Fi would lose connection. And you know, the biggest thing with that was having to change batteries sooner, and because it was working more and draining more battery. So moving it over here definitely helped. Haven't had that issue since I moved in. That's been about 3 weeks, I guess, at this point. Yeah, 3 weeks probably, because it's probably 3 weeks that I kept doing it. And I was just like, oh, you know, it's this, it's that, whatever. And then it was just getting a little buggy. Once I saw that the batteries had drained, that's when I was like, all right, we got to figure this out. So just moved it closer, and it's worked ever since. I did perform a few speed tests, and I actually performed the one on my phone in here, which is the furthest spot, you know, from the modem that I had previously. So I did one with the old modem, and then with the new mesh system. And obviously there is a mesh, you know, satellite in the other room. So, you know, theoretically you should have a better speeds. And I did. You know, it's completely night and day, the speeds that I had and the reliability that I had compared to what it is now. So I'm extremely happy with it. I also did one with the MacBook, and that also was so much better than what I had before. So I think that the system is working great. It's kind of one of those set it and forget it type deals. It automatically picks and chooses which, you know, Wi-Fi spectrum, I guess, you want to be on, either 2.4 or 5 gigahertz, I should say, depending on the system. I haven't really, I don't think I have at least, messed with the app that much. I just went in there and I named all of my devices to make sure that I knew what devices are on my network at all times. The ones you gotta really look into are the Apple devices, because, or at least for me, I use the that feature where you can hide your IP address, so it gives it a random one. And originally I was like, what is all this Apple iPhone stuff? And I knew obviously it was, you know, our devices, but the iMac, or sorry, the IP address, the MAC address, didn't match up with what was on the app. But once I realized that I'm using, you know, a different IP address, that's when I found that out. So just a quick little tip there. Overall, I am very happy with the Orbi mesh system. It's worked out perfectly. The only, you know, kind of issue that I had was with the August lock, but once I figured that out, it's been smooth sailing since then. Let me know what you think of the Orbi Wi-Fi mesh system, or if you're using something similar or different, or what your setup is. If you've liked this video, give it a nice thumbs up. Consider subscribing. Any comments, questions, suggestions, just put them down below. And like always, just keep on living a modern lifestyle through technology. Peace. Catch you on the next one.